All right, welcome everyone to the podcast. And today's episode is all about how AI is changing the way B2B software company get discovered, understood, and ultimately chosen. I'm Karajan Ilgar, founder of Founders, where we focus on practical tools and automation to help business run more efficiently. So I'm really glad to be joined by today by Deepak from Ziply AI. Ziply is focused on helping B2B brands improve AI visibility, building authority, and turns that visibility into a real demand. Right. So today we're going to talk about how buyer behavior is changing, and why old playbooks are starting to break, and what companies need to do differently to if they want to stay visible and credible in AI first world. Right. So Deepak, really glad you can join us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, awesome. Let's say just maybe to start simple, right? Can you share a little about what you're building at Ziply AI and how you usually describe it in your own words? Yeah.
So Ziply is a B2B SaaS product. Today, 20 billion searches, 18 billion searches happen on Google, but 5 billion searches happen on ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google Gemini. More and more, even with the searches on Google, people are not clicking on the links that are 10 blue links. They are just looking at the summary,
Yes.
like the Google AI overview. In fact, my 95-year-old father actually uses Ask AI for recommendations. Like he was looking for a glucose monitoring machine, and he asked
Yes.
AI to do that. So,
Absolutely.
so imagine your own prospects. If they are going to be doing searches on ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google Gemini, it is important for a
Mhm.
brand to be visible in that response. Otherwise, you lose pipeline. Now, Google, when you do Google search and say, hey, what is the best product for X, Y, Z, it will give you 10 links and you have to go one by one. Half of them are
Yes. Yes.
junk websites. So it is up to you
Yeah.
to determine which website to believe. However, the way AI works is it will go out in the web on its own as an expert,
Yeah.
figure out the best content and the best company based on many different factors, and it will come up with a recommendation. Hey, these are the top two products that we recommend. And more people are actually believing what AI responses come back with. So if you are not in that list, you lose pipeline. So that's what Ziply helps with. We help you make sure that not only we tell you whether you are even visible for the queries that your target prospects are asking, we help you with strategies, with recommendations on what content to create, where you should amplify your voice, where you should get cited and mentioned on third-party websites as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. We just look at the summary. We don't even look at the links anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, just so led you to focus on this problem in the first place? How do you guys start this idea?
It actually started a little bit differently. About 2 years ago, I was in transition between jobs and I was wondering what to do next. I said I'll become a career coach, like a product management coach. But
Yes.
I needed to build my own brand, so I started writing a lot on LinkedIn, on Substack. So I have like 1,200 posts on LinkedIn,
Wow.
around 150 to 200 articles on Substack, and I have my own website. But I was not very happy with the way my process was. So I would write a blog post, then I have to write a LinkedIn post, then I have to write a Twitter post. I even dabbled a little bit with video. I feel like too many things, a lot of work. So I wanted to build a tool for myself that helped me create that content automatically. So I have a seed of an idea. It will help me write a blog post and then automatically convert that into a LinkedIn post or a Twitter post or a YouTube
Syndicating, right? Yeah.
syndicate, but
Awesome.
using my own voice, and that's how we started. So I met a friend of mine. He's a hardcore technologist. So we decided to partner together. So he's my co-founder now, and he and I decided that hey, not just individuals, B2B companies also have this problem. So that's how we started. But then after some time, we realized that. Uh, two roadblocks we came into. Customers were telling us that, hey, this is good, but I don't know what topic to write about. Can you give me topic suggestions? And number one.
Hmm.
Number two, AI search started becoming very hot. And then if we are going to be writing content, you better make sure that you write based on what AI search is expecting, because you need to be cited and mentioned. So one thing led to the other. We created an entire platform that starts with AI visibility. That's a dashboard that we tell you where do you stand in terms of share of voice. We gave you the
Mm.
gaps. We give you topic ideas, and then you create blog posts, ebooks, social media posts, landing pages, whatever you need to create, press releases, and then we help you syndicate and amplify that through your employees, through your partners, and even with influencers. So the whole gamut is what we ended up building then. But it actually started with my personal problem, and one thing led to the other, and now we are getting a lot of traction from enterprise companies.
Awesome. That's a very good kind of evolvement of this, this evolving of this idea, right? Amazing. Start with your own problem, right? So awesome. So, and on the big idea behind the, Ziply, right? Is buying discovery is changing, right? So, from your perspective, what is the biggest shift happening right now in how B2B buyers find and evaluate software right now? And can you touch this one a little bit earlier also, right? If you can just repeat, so how B2B
Well,
buyers find and evaluate software right now. Yeah.
I think people are asking, 80% of buyers are now asking ChatGPT and Perplexity for recommendations for anything. Nowadays, I guarantee you, like by within 6 months or even 1 year, people will be dependent upon ChatGPT for every small thing. People will not be making
Yes.
decisions. It's
Yes.
already happening today. Like I
Yes.
can see my own behavior. Like I rely on ChatGPT quite a bit,
A lot. A lot.
not just for content creation, but also for like brainstorming,
Yes.
idea generation. Hey, critique my idea. So I'm
Yeah.
reliant. So if for even for small things like discovering software, hey, what's the best way to do that? And actually, it is a little bit more than that. People are not just searching for best software for XYZ, best product. They're asking for recommendations on how to do things. So, for example, give me a template for, I don't know, a landing page, right? So
Yeah.
that's what, because they want to create a landing page. They're not looking for
Yes.
software per se. They're looking to create a landing page. Now, what happens is that when you're AI comes back with an answer, ChatGPT, hey, here is a template, and it will make a mention of some software company like, I don't know, Webflow or a card, because
Yeah.
AI has determined that Webflow has a right content or card has a good content. So I'm going to take that content and mention them or cite them in there, right? So that's where the conversions actually are going to happen more and more. It's not just for, hey, what is the best software? That's a direct query, but all the indirect queries, which is outnumbered like 10 is to 1, there will be 10 times more indirect queries. Hey, what is the best template for this? How should I do my forecasting? What's the best way to, manage pipeline for a startup? Those are the questions people are asking. And that's when discovery happens and one thing leads to the other. That's how you will get discovered now. So,
Yeah.
if I had to summarize this, you need to become, as a brand, you need to become an authority on certain topics so that AI will recommend you, so that the buyers will see your brand in there.
Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Yeah. If software company realize that they are not they are not really visible in AI-driven discovery today, right? Where do you think they should start first?
Whoa. That's actually a bigger discussion, and that's what our product actually helps with. But I'll give you like a brief summary.
Yeah.
Number one, make sure that all your website pages are structured according to how AI can read it. So remember, your content that you write for your website, your blog, it was actually meant for human beings to read.
Yeah.
But now it's not human
Yeah.
beings reading alone;
Yeah.
machines are
Yeah.
reading. So you
Yes.
need to structure your content according to the schemas, according to having FAQs, TLDR, answering questions, adding value from that point of view. Not just talking about your product, but actually answering questions, right? So making sure your content you're structured accordingly. That's number one. Number two, what AI looks for is it looks for authority. Are you the best authority on this particular topic? So it's think of it like a two-step process. If you ask a question, what is the best product for XYZ? What are some good? Give me some good templates for email,
Yeah.
outbound email. What AI does is actually finds out first who is the best authority, who has the best types of content, and then it will start picking up the content. It doesn't just pick up content randomly. Unlike Google in the old days, if you have the keyword, it will just pick up. Google doesn't care what else is on the page. It just takes about that one page. It's like a leaf on a tree. It doesn't care
Yeah.
about the tree. It just cares about
Yes.
that leaf. But AI works a little bit differently. So what you have to do is you have to maintain your authority. So I want to be known for these six, seven topics or themes. I better have content just on those themes all over, and lots of content, different pillar pages, different cluster pages, sub themes, blog article, and then amplify that on social media as well, Reddit, LinkedIn, Twitter, because AI is actually scanning those websites as well. So adding to conversations over there. The third thing is making sure that you are visible on high authority websites. For example, getting yourself listed on Forbes article will go a long way into being
Absolutely.
cited and mentioned. So
Yeah.
there are like three, four techniques. Actually, there are more techniques, but those are the main ones that I would like focus on. And our product actually helps give you all of those recommendations and gaps.
Yeah, it is. It's cool. It's cool. So how do you think AI is changing the product market fit and user adoption itself, right? Not just marketing.
Uh, so I think we'll have to break down that question just a little bit. So how does it help with product market fit? I don't
How do
think
you think AI is changing the product market fit and the user adoption itself?
so. It depends on the product, obviously. If your product has some AI component in it, uh, I don't think the fundamentals have changed for product market fit. People are still, you need to still be able to solve a very compelling problem.
Mhm.
You may have heard about like the vitamins versus painkiller
Yes,
argument.
yes, yes, yes.
I've actually converted that into even more. So it's like vitamins, there is a cough syrup, there is a painkiller, and there is chemotherapy. So
Yeah.
if you have cancer, you have to go for chemotherapy. You have no ifs and buts. If you have a pain, headache, you can take Tylenol. You can skip it, but you'd rather take Tylenol. Cough syrup, I'm coughing, or I may have some itchy something. If I don't take my cough syrup, I'll just keep coughing. It will make me uncomfortable, but I can wing it. Vitamin is a vitamin. It's like if you don't take it, you won't die tomorrow, right? So what is that chemotherapy level pain point that the customer has? If you are still solving for that and your product is very compelling in terms of value prop, you will find product market fit. So I don't think the fundamentals have changed. What may have changed is for a product manager, understanding the jobs to be done at a much deeper level, at a visceral
Yes.
level, so that
Yeah.
you can do things with AI that you couldn't do before, right? This AI SDR is a good example of that, and that's why everybody is doing it because it's such a big problem. Like if I am one human SDR, I can only make like say 20 calls a day, but with an AI SDR, you can make 200 calls a day. There is no limit, right? So
Yeah.
so thinking about it from a jobs to be done perspective at a deeper level, actually that's what will change, and that's what will help with the product market fit as well. That's
Yeah.
my personal take on this.
Yes. Actually, just this is like a little bit off topic. Where about you mentioned about this job to be done, right? So 4 5 years ago, I got really fascinated about this this kind of framework, right? Like earlier you said your father was searching for not for best best tools, right? He's just looking for the best that desired outcome, right? Like, how do you come up with the best landing page, right? Because the users all they want is landing page, not the best tool, right? So
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So understanding that actually is going to be very important for product managers and product marketing managers to understand what is the buyer trying to do to solve a specific problem. How can we help them? And now actually you can help them not just with your product, but with your content as well, because eventually that content will lead them to the product.
absolutely, yeah, cool. Last time is next one is just on your business, like where have you felt the most friction so far? Getting attention, getting understood, getting buyer to take action. Because I honestly speaking, you are right. I mean, even I'm a tech guy. Yes, we all heard about this optimization, SEO and all the stuff, right? But now we're changing dramatically, right? Like, we're not relying on search engine anymore. We're searching engine, relying on this chat GPT, all those things, right? So, uh, did you have any problem, introducing this concept to, the businesses? Or I know, yeah, I can talk about this part. So what was your kind of friction you experienced so far? Getting attention or understood or getting buyer to take action?
I think we are not getting any problems getting buyer attention because everybody has
Yes.
realized they need to solve this. The challenge we get into sometimes is where do we start? Like it's a little daunting. Now, SEO world was a little bit straightforward. I'm not going to say simple, but it was straightforward. What keywords are difficult? What keywords are easy? What's the CPC? What's the click-through rate? What's the search volume? Okay, these are the long tail keywords. I want to rank there. Stuff them in your page and be done with it, right? But now you have to look at a lot of broader picture. You have to be an authority. You have to be on published on third party sites. You have to be on social media. We talked about social, but LinkedIn and Reddit is actually very important now. YouTube is actually becoming very important these days. So now you have to think of very holistically about how to get. It's not just one thing anymore. It's not just having an FAQ on your website pages. Yeah, you might get 1 or 2 percentage point share of voice, but that's not defensible. What's defensible is you as a brand becomes an authority on 5 or 6 topics in your domain. And that requires a multi-dimensional approach, not just fixing your website pages. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So you mean to pick, I mean, in this your space, picking a kind of niche was a little challenging. Is that right? Or no?
No, no. I think what I meant was for a customer to get started, it's a bit
Yeah.
overwhelming.
Oh, yes. Where to start, basically, for the
Where do
customer?
you start? So it's a lot of work, and actually, what we are also seeing is customers want to get started, but they need to organize themselves in a little bit first. Okay, for example, I said that you need to be an authority on 4 or 5 topic themes. What are those topic themes? What should we be an authority on? A
Hmm.
lot of companies don't even know that yet, especially like
Yeah.
a Series A company, no idea. So what should be my topic pillars? If you're an established company, you may have a little bit of an idea, but that's where we get another example like buyer personas. Like who are the buyer personas? We are actually working with a client. We are still defining the buyer personas for them, right? So if you don't have the foundation layer ready, then it is very difficult to figure out what prompts to monitor, how to create the content, and so on. So that's where building that found. But the good news is once you have that foundation layer, that's the brain of your organization. Your voice, tone, brand guidelines, personas, topic themes, sub themes, even your competitor, differentiators, guidelines, everything is done, right? So what we do is in our product, we create a brain for your brand, basically. So every
Mhm.
piece of content is grounded in that brand master.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Awesome. And lastly is, so for the people listening, who feel like they need to rethink about how their brand is show up in the new environment, what does Ziply help them do today? I know you kind of mentioned it, but just reiterating on
I
this
think
one.
I think the very first thing to do is to figure out where you stand today versus your competition.
Mhm.
And see. And that will give you into clue. Sometimes what will happen is it might say that your share of voice is good, but your mention rate is small. The report might say your share of voice is not good, but overall your sentiment is good. So it for different brands. So we have a customer who was showing up regularly on page one of Google, but not on ChatGPT.
Mm.
So how do we improve that? So that happens a lot. So you may have a high share of voice, but low mention rate, and so on and so forth. Different scenarios require different strategies on how to deal with it, right?
Okay.
So first thing is to just measure where you are. We actually have a free report on our website where people are welcome to try it.
Awesome. And what I mean, just this is again, I was now planning, but in what stage of company kind of it's best to kind of get started on this, thinking about this?
Okay. I think that's a good question. Honestly, we are still figuring that out to ourselves. But my gut feel is anything when you are scaling and you are competing with others, other companies, that's the best time to actually invest in this. And the other thing is these things compound over time. So you want to get started sooner rather than later because if AI determines that your competitors have a high authority subject matter expert, they will just rely on them to source their content and you will be left behind then. So sooner you start and build your authority, that's the better. So I would say Series A companies who are
Yeah.
scaling and growing, that will be the best time to get started. But I think it applies to mature companies as well. We are actually talking to some very large, like publicly traded companies as well, who are losing market share. And we are actually telling them that, hey, here's the reason your leads are not coming. Your share of voice is too low compared to your competitors. Let's fix that. So,
Yeah.
so, so they are also, and everybody from it. Can a startup use this? Of course, they can use this. But what happens is, for a startup, early stage startup especially, they haven't yet quite figured out their own
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yes, yes, yes.
personas and topic themes. So I would say it's a little too premature for small companies to do this in a little bit more methodical and formal manner.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting to, because that's why I'm asking this question, because I think you're right. Startup Series A is good time because they already kind of figure out the business model, right? That we're ready to scale, right? So
Yeah,
early stage
because
is
they
still kind of figuring it out, the way. Yeah,
because if they change business model or they pivot,
absolutely. Yes,
uh,
absolutely.
so
Yeah.
get to the product market fit, and when you're ready to scale from that point on. So let's say you've reached up to say 1 million to 2 million ARR. Maybe you have raised a Series A or something. That's when you should invest in this.
Okay, cool,
Uh,
cool. Yeah, and this is the kind of last question. I mean, you already kind of shared maybe a couple times on similar things, but if you had given a B2B founder or growth leader one piece of advice for staying visible and credible in AI area, right? What would that be? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they should continue to write, I would say, write content according to the AI guidelines, so to speak. But more importantly, make sure that you write about topics that will give you topical authority. For example, let's say you are a small startup in agentic AI for customer support or something. I'm just making this up. So write content about customer support and how customers, how to handle, multiple teams and remote teams and how to do customer support better in this industry, that industry. Write as much as you can. So one of the challenges they will run into is bandwidth. They just don't have the bandwidth to create this content. And that's where our product actually helps because with a click of a button, you could create a blog post, for example, within
Absolutely.
like 2 minutes, and then there is a human in the loop and so on. So that's one thing I would do. And the second thing I would do is don't ignore social channels like Reddit and LinkedIn and even YouTube, because AI is actually relying on these, especially Reddit, because Reddit is curated conversations. So they are reliant on that one. So be present in these channels as well.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right, so Deepak, this was great. I always say in a lot of my podcasts, is that I personally learn a lot actually. It's like oh, I need to think about this one too now. Okay, so I personally learn a lot. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing your perspective. I think we have to think about AI visibility now. Moving forward, more kind of seriously. So thanks again for being on the call today.
Okay, thank you.